Hello and welcome to the latest episode of my knitting and creative podcast. My name on Instagram is Orchid's Heart and I live here in Birmingham. Hopefully my head is not chopped off. So today's video is all about my favourite winter knits. So these are projects I've already made, wear, love. Some of them I wear a lot, in fact all of them I wear a lot, that's the point of this video. And I wanted to share with you my favourite winter projects and knits. Hopefully to inspire you. I did this in the autumn and it was quite a popular video, so I thought I would do a winter one as well now that we're in the depths of winter. So yeah, I mean these are probably all projects that you will recognise because they're all ones that I wear a lot. I wanted to do kind of like a roundup and kind of explain why I like them so much. So I have a couple of garments, a couple of accessories, some socks, and that's it really. So I'm going to start with garments. No, I'll start with what I'm wearing because I always forget that. So this is the Favo sweater, I believe, by Fiber Tales. I think it's knit with Magnússon and something else. I actually didn't knit this one. Cat Weaver did. She used to be called Heather and Hops. Now she just goes by Cat Weaver. And I did a swap with her for some like handmade skincare. And she sent me this jumper because for her it was too short, but I wear it quite a lot with high-waisted sort of dresses. Works quite well with what I'm wearing. The dress I'm wearing has really puffy sleeves, and so because the sleeves on this are a bit puffy, I can just about get it over this dress. So this dress I actually find quite difficult to wear. I'll see if I can show you. Because it's got these huge puffy sleeves. It's made from Merchant Mills linen. I think it's called Little Joe Check. It was probably from last year or the year before, so I don't have it anymore. But it's a really pretty dress, and when I'm wearing just the dress, it's fine. But because the puffy sleeves then have a cuff about here, I don't find it very comfortable. I did see that, is the name Stitchcraft? She made a puffy sleeve dress recently, and she put ties on it so that it was like a folded over channel with a tie pulled through, so you could adjust the tightness of it. I thought I might do that, or I might just make it like a looser cuff. I don't know, it depends whether I have enough fabric or not. I don't think I do, so it might have to be like a different colour or something, which is a bit of a shame. But anyway, so that's what I'm wearing. Sorry, I don't really know what the yarn is of this. She did tell me when we did the trade, but I can't remember. But I'm pretty sure it's the Magnússon, because I remember it being something by Snefnug. Not by Snefnug, by Camarose. And I don't think it is Snefnug. I don't know. I might be remembering completely wrong. So my first and probably my most worn jumper I've ever made, especially this time of year, although admittedly pretty much any time of year, is my Tulip pullover sweater. This is a pattern by Bee Mandarine's Melody Hoffman. And it has this really lovely scalloped edge at the bottom, which hopefully you can see. So this is a pattern that I really didn't enjoy knitting, and it's because my gauge is quite dense, and I'll talk about the yarn in a minute. And it was a bit of a slog to knit, I will say. I had some problems with the neckline, I'll talk about that as well. But I actually wear this the most, so I guess it ended up being a bit of a product knit. So the yarn I used, so my brain is not really in gear this morning. The yarn I used is 2 strands of Plutlopi, and it's kind of in the beige colour, and a strand of some thrifted mohair I have on a cone that's a bit yellowy. So it has kind of like this browny, oatmeal-y, yellowy colour, which I find goes with a lot of my clothes. But I don't think I did a gauge swatch. Don't remember doing one. Can't see one over there, so I have a feeling I didn't, and that might be part of my problem. I think I saw that it was a similar needle size to something else I'd done, so I just kind of went for it. And I'm trying to remember. So my gauge was a bit off. It possibly. So it was very dense and hard going on my hand, the 2 strands of Plutlopi and the strand of mohair. But I do really like the fabric, despite the fact that I remember it being hard on my hands. It is a really nice stitch. Hopefully you can see that. Like, it's got quite defined stitches, but I think because of the nature of the wool, because it's the unspun and the mohair, it's just held up really well. I mean, it has pilled, but because it's fluffy, like, it's not really a big deal. And the other thing I did was, I knew a lot of people had problems with the neckline being really wide and really stretching out. So I had done this on another jumper that had a folded over neckline, just that was part of the pattern. I decided, and I did threaded, because that started to stretch out, I threaded some elastic through it. So I decided to do that on purpose with this one, and I inserted some rolled elastic into the rolled neckline, just with a really thick needle. So, I mean, it's just a knot. I didn't like hide all the ends in because I was worried that it would be too tight, and I wanted to be able to get to it to loosen it and tighten it until I was happy. And to be honest, it's just been left, so it does look really ugly in the back there. It started to fray a bit, but honestly that's never irritated my neck at all. I don't notice it when I have it on. And when I first get it out of the wash, it maybe does feel a bit snugger around the neck, but after a wear or so, it's completely fine. And it does mean it has quite a lot of stretch, but then it springs back into place. So I'm really enjoying that. So rolled elastic, if that's not something you're really familiar with, it's kind of like the elastic people were using, I think, on the homemade COVID masks. That's at least where I bought it. I bought the elastic from there's a company in England called James Tailoring, and they do like eco-friendly sewing supplies. So it's a natural rubber with cotton around the outside. It's just what I had in my stash, but it's kind of nice that it's not synthetic, because it means there's nothing synthetic in this garment. And yeah, so when I was knitting it, I think I was worried about the sizing. I remember thinking this body is going to be absolutely massive, because I think everything up to that point I'd knitted quite fitted, and so there was quite a lot of positive ease. I mean, as you can see, it's quite a lot wider than me. And I kind of have this habit when knitting sleeves of decreasing until they fit snugly around my wrist. And I had noticed that that was kind of a habit I seem to have developed. And so the sleeves are quite fitted, I think more fitted than they are in the pattern. So that was an accident. However, the resulting shape is something I really, really enjoy. I think this is something Andrea Mowry might have mentioned in the past. Somebody has. But when you have an oversized, quite a lot of positive ease in the body, especially if you're my kind of size and you don't really have much of a bust or much of like a figure to kind of carry that, you can look a bit swamped quite quickly. But a fitted sleeve can really help balance that out. And so yeah, also the length of it, because it's slightly cropped, the scallop goes just beyond kind of the sort of, I guess, the waist of most of my dresses. So it has that really nice shape where it just kind of has the scallops just over like the waist of the dress. And so I find it looks really lovely over dresses, it looks really lovely with trousers and jeans. I just wear it all the time. It also just about fits over my fern and feather. So when I need 2 layers of Lopi, you know, Plutlopi and Lettlopi, I do wear both because I do get that cold. So yeah, that's my tulip sweater. I really recommend the pattern. I remember finding it quite easy to follow. I think if I didn't remember really not enjoying the density of the knit, I would probably knit it again. Maybe I need to knit it again in a different combination of yarns. I don't know. I wouldn't want to go up a needle size because I really like the way the stitches look. So yeah, anyway. Or maybe I was just having a hard time when I knit it, I'm not sure. But I do really love the finished garment. Another one that I've shared a few times, and I live in this, is my Maja cardigan. So this is also knit in Lopi, predominantly. The grey, the black, the oatmeal is all Lettlopi. The green is some leftover Plutlopi, like the tulip, and then the red is just some leftover Brooklyn Tweed yarn that I had. And it's a steeked garment. I think it's a free pattern. When I've mentioned it before and I said it didn't give you any information about increases on the colour work for the sleeves, which I think exasperated a lot of people. Someone did say to me that on their blog post or something, there is now instructions that tell you how to do that, so you don't have to do the kind of bodge job that I did on the increases. But I've knit this pattern twice. I knit one recently for my mother-in-law, which I shared in a recent video, I believe. And I copied the colour scheme from somebody that had already completed a project on Ravelry. I'm sorry. She did a very similar colour scheme. I absolutely fell in love with it. I like that it's a bit naturey, but it has like this little pop of colour. And this red is the colour of my favourite hat that I wear absolutely tons. It's the same yarn. So I was wearing something else with that yarn in the other day. I felt quite coordinated. What was I wearing? I was wearing a hat. What else is in it? I've knit something else with some of this yarn in it. Oh, it's escaping me. A hat, this cardigan. I don't know, I can't remember. What could that possibly be? Not sure, that's going to bug me now. Not a cowl. Yeah, I've definitely used this yarn in 3 things now, and I thought, oh, that's yarn's gone quite a long way, and I have a little bit left as well. But yeah, I wear this a lot because I think I did knit the first size, but it's quite generous for the smallest size. And it fits over a lot of my other knits. It fits over my tulip. I can actually wear, and don't laugh, my fern and feather, my tulip on top, and then this. And when we were in New York and it was like -3 degrees, that's what I was wearing, I do get very cold. And so 3 layers of Lettlopi wool might sound extreme to a lot of you, but when you're camping or it's just very, very cold out, sometimes it's necessary. But yes, I absolutely love this pattern. It was really fun to knit because it's Aran weight gauge. It's quite a quick colour work, and steeking really isn't that bad. If you've not steeked before, I do really recommend, especially with a pattern like this, because the yarn is quite thick, it's very rustic, it's very sticky. It's kind of hard to mess it up. I'm sorry if I've jinxed it for you. But that was the first steeked garment I ever did, I think. And it was fine. It was easy, it was lovely. So there we go. My last garment I'm going to share with you is also kind of a fairly recent project, and it's also knit from kind of a similar yarn. So there is a bit of a theme going on here, but I think that's because my thicker winter projects do tend to be knit from things like Lettlopi, Plutlopi, mohair, stuff like that, because it gets so cold. And that's my Eastwind Jacket. So I think I shared this in a recent video. And I have a whole video that I made about the process of making this, the modifications I made, and like my journey making it. I have done a different neck. My neck is more funnel. I've done a folded button placket on the front because everyone complained it curled in. I did my pockets a bit different, so they're a bit sturdier. So I made quite a few modifications. And I knit this using Manchelopis, which is an unspun merino from Spain, which is really soft. It's not like Plutlopi, it's an incredibly soft yarn, and a strand of mohair. But I did use the Plutlopi from the tulip to do the edges, the bind off, and the cast on, because I found it a bit tricky in the softer Manchelopis. But I wear this absolutely tons. It is meant to be like an outdoor jacket coat, but I'm going to be totally honest, I wear it in the house. Yes, I get that cold. It's not that cold in here. It's normally about 16-15 degrees, but I get really cold when I'm not moving. And I work sat still, and I knit sat still, so obviously. So I do get incredibly cold. I have worn this outside a bit, but it rains a lot in the winter here, so I find that a bit challenging, because though real wool has some water resistance, I would rather wear like a waterproof coat over something when it's raining, so I don't smell like a wet dog, because I find that when I wear wool and I get wet, I smell like a wet dog. Sorry if that makes you laugh. But yes, so this is another one of my favourite winter knits because it's incredibly warm. It definitely fits over everything, and I guess if I was absolutely desperate, although I've not reached that point yet, I could wear my fern and feather, my tulip, my Maja, and this, but I feel like I would probably look like a giant ball of wool and maybe wouldn't be able to move very well. Kind of almost want to try. I bet it'd be very snuggling. So that's my favourite winter garments. So that's two kind of, well, a cardigan, a jacket and a jumper. And they're the ones I wear the most this time of year. So now I'm going to share 3 accessory projects. So the first one are these mittens. So these are the Ferocis. I don't know, the names of everything will be below. Mittens by Elianic Knits. I believe she uses Gaelic names to name things by. And I have knit these in Lettlopi again. So when I was knitting my Maja cardigan, I wasn't sure whether I wanted to use brown, black or black for my accents. No, when I was knitting my fern and feather, because I'd never ordered Lettlopi before. And so I needed one ball of the contrast colour for the colour work in a dark colour, and then like several balls of the oatmeal. And so I ordered one ball of black and one ball of brown black. Maybe I ordered 2 of one. I must have some point, maybe I ordered them more when I did my Maja. Anyway, in my stash I had one ball of black and one ball of brown black. Although clearly I must have had a little bit less of the brown black. So maybe I use that on my fern and feather, because the thumb, you won't be able to tell because it's so close, but from here onwards the thumb is in black and the rest is in brown black. And so they are 2 slightly different colours, because you use about a ball of the dark and then like some of the contrast. So it's about a 2.5 ball project, 3 ball project I think, because each ball of Lettlopi is 50 grams, and I absolutely love these. I think I knit the hands on them a bit longer, but I've got quite long fingers, so I'm just going to have a drink. I seem to remember that I did maybe do a few more rows before I started decreasing. It's also possible that she finished her tops differently. She might have kitchened them closed, and I have a feeling I did more decreases and then just pulled it tight like you would in a hat. I went through a bit of a phase where I was avoiding doing kitchener stitch, and I have a feeling this might have been part of that phase. But because these are made of Lettlopi and they've got colour work here, they're really toasty, and they're actually quite a quick knit. Sorry. So yeah, absolutely love them. I did lose one recently and I was devastated, and then because I walked down the same river path, you know, probably every weekend, but because that's where on the other side of that river path is where my nearest nice high street is for going out for food and stuff. And so I think early in January I went to go see my friend because she lives over there. So I was walking on the river, walked back, obviously didn't notice I dropped one of my gloves, and 2 weeks later, because we'd gone away for my birthday the following weekend, 2 weeks later I was walking down again to go see her, meet her for coffee, and I saw one of my gloves, the missing one, on a bench. So it'd been outside in January on a bench for 2 weeks in the rain and everything else. Obviously it was a bit disgusting, but it was still there, and so I picked it up, carried it home like this because it was gross, gave it a good soak and wash, and yeah, they're back together. And I was really sad. I mean, of all the things to lose, it probably is one of the better things to have lost, because, you know, it's quite quick to knit up, it's not an expensive yarn, but I was still a bit sad because it was something I'd made, and I was just about to cycle myself up to buy some yarn to make a replacement, and it reappeared. So, very happy. My next accessory that I wear loads this time of year is this one. Trying to show it off in its best way. It's a bit tricky. Andrea Mowry makes it look so easy. This is the Velvet Mirror Cowl by Andrea Mowry. It's knit, I think hers is knit with spin cycle, so it has a bit of a colour change situation going on, and a Suri or something like that. I've knit mine out of Ampersand Fibers, which I think is a Cormo yarn, sport weight, and that is the kind of grey-green colour. And then the yellow is a strand of Suri Alpaca by Zakami yarns and a lace weight yarn that I naturally dyed. So it has a slight marl with the yellow, but nothing too drastic. Not like there's a lot more colour change going on in the original, but this is the softest, coziest thing I've ever knit. It's called a Mirror Cowl. So you knit it in a tube and then you put a twist in it and you graft the ends together. And it's just so soft and cozy. I will say, because the chart, so it might be hard to tell. See if I can show you. So here the diamonds are in green, here the diamonds are in yellow. So the chart is so that you've got it, you know, with the black and the white, and then the white and the black. And I think her contrast colours, like her two colours, were the other way around in terms of contrast. So for instance, if her my Suri was light, hers was dark, and her other colour was light and mine is dark. Anyway, so when I was looking at the chart, my head got really confused because it was like the opposite way around of lightness and darkness. And then I realised, because it's the same chart on both charts except the colours are inversed, I could just look at the second chart and then do that and then go back to the first one. What it meant was, what I'm trying to explain, it meant that when I was grafting it together, I was grafting the Suri alpaca bit together, not the wool yarn, and so it took a lot longer. So that is something to bear in, and like flip the colours on the photocopier or something like that, so that I was still knitting them in the right order. I'm sorry if this is not very clear, but basically what I ended up doing was grafting alpaca, and it took forever. So you do like a provisional cast on, and then at the end you graft the ends together. But I think that kind of makes it, because there's no seam anywhere, and then so that just adds to the nice softness of it. So I did think about making another one and just sewing the ends together and not bothering with a provisional cast on. But like the grafting section is here. I can see it if I look for it. But honestly, it does just feel so lovely. And she gives you really good instructions on how to do it. So, you know, so I really recommend this pattern. If I wasn't so kind of traumatised by how long it took me to graft it together, I mean actually hours, then I would make another one. But yeah, I mean I probably will make another one at some point because it is a really lovely squishy project. The other thing I really like about this in the winter is if it is in your pocket or you're wearing it around your neck and it's really, really cold and you forgot your hat, you can just about have it on your head around your ears, having the twist at the front here. You do look a little bit ridiculous, but I'm telling you, when you're on top of a windy mountain or it's really cold outside and your ears are really hurting, is a godsend as well. And it does make me think that a similar thing, like the double tube Mobius knit with the Suri alpaca and wool, would actually be really lovely on my ears. So I might have to take that on board. And so whilst we're talking about ear protection, I haven't got any hats to share this time, because honestly the hat I wear the most is the one I shared in my autumn favourite knits, and that's my red Brume hat. I don't wear any hats anywhere near as much as that one because it fits perfectly and it's really cosy. However, I do have this. So this, I think there is a pattern for it. Off the top of my head, I don't remember what it is, so we'll put it in the notes below. But it's like a simple cable pattern. You knit it flat and then you sew the ends together. I did run out of yarn, so I had to put an extra bit in a different colour here. And this was just leftovers from something. But I really like this because it's really small, it can go in my coat pocket, and it's really useful for when you get caught, like I said, you get caught short and you're like me and you have really sensitive ears. Or if you've got your hair tied up but you've still got to walk to the cafe to meet your friend, that's also really useful. I can kind of have it on over my ears and hopefully not mess up my hair too much. And so I find that really useful as well. So I'm going to cheat and I am going to reshare something from my favourite autumn makes video, and that is my Birds of a Feather shawl knit in Brume 4-ply by Daughter of a Shepherd. The pattern is by Andrea Mowry, and it's just this really huge shawl knit out of this rustic, it's Zwarptals, something and something. They're all yarns from England, I think mostly up north, and I just love this because it's rustic but soft and it's massive. I mean, I can't show you the whole thing, and so I can really wrap it around myself. I can also wrap it around my head and ears and my neck. Again, when I was in New York, it was -3 degrees. That's what I was doing. I had my hat on and my shawl wrapped around my head. I just love that the size of it is so versatile, but because it's also like a 4-ply yarn, it's not that like heavy. I just find it really warm and cozy, and it really traps the air in with its garter stitch. So yeah, I wear it a lot and I love it. So I just wanted to share it again because it is the one I wear the most. And then kind of like the last favourite knits thing I wanted to share with you. I mean, you can't have favourite winter knits without socks. So I was kind of thinking, what are my favourite things about socks in the winter? And there's kind of 2 or 3 things. So one is socks knit with a strand of mohair, because that adds an extra layer of coze and softness. So these are knit with like a hand-dyed merino cashmere nylon mix by Olann Fibers, which I don't think exists anymore, and a strand of mohair. And these are really soft and really cozy. They definitely add some extra warmth. The pattern is just a vanilla sock pattern. It's just the recipe in the book by Winwick Mum. And then the other thing I really like about winter socks is 100% wool, no nylon socks. So this is the Drover sock yarn by Daughter of a Shepherd again. I just find that the 100% wool is a bit warmer than the merino nylon mix, and so that's nice and toasty. Again, just the same sock pattern. And then the other one I'm actually wearing, so I have to take it off. And I didn't knit these, my mum did. So you can see they're much bigger actually. And so these are knit with the Kroy sock yarns, which is a Canadian sock yarn. And she actually had this yarn shipped over from Canada because I really liked the stripes. And I really like these because they're longer. I don't think they're any thicker, but they feel thicker because they're bigger. But I've worn these absolutely tons and there's no sign of holes. The yarn must be really sturdy. The heel is felted together a bit, and so is the bottom, but no sign of holes yet. And I have worn these in my boots on walks, and so because they are a bit bigger, I think she probably did it on 2.5mm needles. I can wear them over other socks, and they also go much further up my leg, and so I do wear them a lot. And so that's kind of all of my favourite, most worn things in the winter. There are things that I really like the look of, maybe that I've made or not made, but I don't wear as much. There are things that I made I thought would be a lot more practical, like the storm hood, or like those cowls that just have like the front and the back, the collar things. But I just don't find I reach for those that much. These are the things I definitely reach for all the time. So yeah, I don't know if any of those are interesting to you, whether you've made any of them and they're your favourites too, or whether you have something else that you've knit that you wear a lot in the winter. I would love to know, because maybe you'll inspire me to make something else that becomes a favourite winter piece. But before I go, I wanted to share one last thing with you. So I have just started a new project, but that's not what I wanted to share. I just wanted to share these really lovely, gorgeous progress keepers, and I might stick a photo on the screen if I remember, that I recently made. So the main charm is ceramic, made by a British ceramicist. I really love her work. She also made my necklace. And I am doing a pre-order for a progress keeper set using this progress keeper as like the main focus of it, because I think it's really pretty, and I love how it looks on my, oh, it keeps flipping over. I love how it looks on my current project, which I will share with you next time. So yes, winter knits, lovely handmade things. Got to love all of the crafty things, haven't you? So if you would also like one of these Progress Keepers, I have a pre-order open until the 19th of February, and there'll be a link to my Ko-fi shop below. So yeah, hopefully some of you will like them too. Yeah, that's everything. I hope you're doing well, and I hope to speak to you soon.